Hi, everybody. I'm Pastor Ty, Pastor Bumpy Johnson to some folks. That's the street heat version. And you know I love doing it outside the walls of the institution. Now, go tell somebody. Pastor Ty is finally doing the podcast. Shucks. Compliments of Fred Reed, Reed's Refuge Center, T. Oh, God, we got some of the highest producers. There's only one. T-Frame, that's the man. And they're bringing it to you today, and I'm ever so grateful. This podcast, we want to talk a little bit about, and when I say this podcast, not this particular one, but the ones that will come in the future, we'll be talking about different things. And you know, I said there's 5 areas you need to focus on: income, education, housing, healthcare, and justice. Income, education, housing, healthcare, and justice. Those 5 things, when they meet in Dover, our capital, they're talking about one of those 5 things. When they meet in Washington, they're talking about one of those 5 things. Now, you live in Wilmington, you live in Delaware, I bet you, I can guarantee you, when you're having a conversation, a problem, or when you're talking about the blessing, you're talking about one of those 5 things. Hallelujah. This broadcast today is being brought to you by Dr. Kurt Ross. Dr. Ross is a chiropractor, and if you hurt, call Kurt, 707 Falk Road. Incidentally, my baby, Fred, y'all know that boy can sing, don't you? Yeah, got a record overseas right now. If you all went to the Fred Reed piece and saw I'm Different right now, you got to check that I'm Different. But Fred said, you want to see Kurt before you hit the dirt. Oh. When you hurt, call Kurt. Stay away from the dirt. Listen, today we're blessed because one of my longtime friends are here. I invited him. He came. He was good enough to come. I've been impressed with his work for years and years and years. We've come to know him as the private attorney general, which is a real position, and it's a real office. I didn't think it was. I looked it up. I did. I Googled it, and it came back. Real. This thing is Gucci. I want to welcome in the studio today to this podcast for the first time, Brother Dwight L. Davis.
Thank you, brother. Pleasure to be here.
Man, how you feeling?
I feel with my hands.
Hey, whoa.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They can scratch that.
Yeah, no Diddy.
Yeah, okay. No Diddy, yeah.
Yeah. I was just getting ready to go back and correct how you doing? I sound a little windy.
Yeah, I feel good, brother. And I certainly
none of that. Never do none of that.
I certainly appreciate
it. Feels good. How's the months?
Everything is good at the Masjid Al-Kawthar Muslim Center of Wilmington.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, I did a recent a post, an email.
I think I saw it.
Or a comparison and contrast. It's about looking at your faith community and doing a self-introspection. And that's what we did with the Muslim Center of Wilmington, Masjid Al-Kawthar. Mm-hmm. Anybody that will go to my page, which is ANDA, the African National Day of Assembly, Reparations and Freedom Coalition,
mm-hmm.
and they will be able to see of the email
mm-hmm.
podcast, not podcast,
mm-hmm.
but the email Facebook,
mm-hmm.
and
post.
the posts,
mm-hmm.
and the key to that is looking at it from a comparison contrast. The Masjid Al-Kawthar, in recognition of our leader, Imam Warf D. Muhammad, who is the son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And he succeeded the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And our masjid is that comparison and contrast.
So some folks would say there was a split back then, right?
No, it wasn't
a split.
No, it wasn't a split. It was called succession.
Okay.
When the Honorable Elijah Muhammad passed away,
mm-hmm.
it was his son, Imam Warf D. Muhammad, that was elevated
mm-hmm.
to be the leader of the Nation of Islam. Over that period of time, what happened is that we did a transformation.
Okay.
Imam W.D. Muhammad became the most infamous, most famous
I see.
religious Muslim leader in the North America
So
at that time.
I mean, cut you off, but I want to jump into some other stuff. Take full advantage of your time. Because you've worked for years with pardons and expungements and things of that nature. Do you all see a lot of folks now? Masjid Al Kawthar is not far. It's where is it located?
2102 Northeast Boulevard.
So any practicing Muslim coming to Wilmington needs a place to come, whatever.
Well, you can GPS us and find us on the map.
So they're always welcome.
They're always welcome. Everybody's welcome.
Okay.
You know, it's not just the Muslim Center is a nonprofit organization. Its structure is ideological, and the Masjid Al Kawthar, where the Muslims come to worship, its structure is more programmatic.
So you all were involved with the on the beginning stages when we did the Village of Eastlake. You held a training there, and I was impressed because it was the first time that I had known Muslim Center to be involved with a training aspect in the community directly. So I want to thank you all for that.
Yes, sir.
I want to say you all are still doing some of that work, aren't you?
Well, we're in our 25th year. We moved from 301 West 6th Street in 2000, and we purposely moved to 2102 Northeast Boulevard in order to work with the Riverside and Northeast part of the city of Wilmington. And now we are also involved in the Platinum Plan. Most people are not familiar with the Platinum Plan. The Platinum Plan came out of 2020 when President Donald Trump was trying to get elected, and his appeal specifically was to Black people of African American descent.
So before we talk about the Platinum Plan,
yes, sir.
I hear it's interesting. I want to talk a little bit about how and it came about, because for so long the faith community has not really come together in a way that community folks can appreciate and can see. So you hear the calls and the cries all the time. How come the churches won't work together if it's no more than to pool some money? You know, the numbers are astronomical as to what we take up in tithes and offering a Sunday, right? And why can't we allocate 10% of that money to build us a school, to build us a financial institution, to build anything? And it just seems like we've been locked out of this system. There's racist policies, there's racist institutions, and we got to start talking about how racist some of these things are and keep us from advancing. Now, to approach that, I think we, as some of the community folks, got together and talked about the August Quarterly movement.
That's correct.
And Peter Spencer, his contribution.
Right. That's
Bishop
right.
Peter Spencer, you know, as I know, 32 schools, churches he founded, and everywhere he founded a church, he founded a school.
Absolutely.
And now when we look at our state, Black folks in Delaware, and we look at our educational system, and what we're producing, what we're not producing. We're saying, now here's a man back in 1837?
1812.
1812.
1813.
1812, 13. This man is building schools. He's building schools. You hear what I'm saying? And, you know, that's a shout out to Dr. Umar, who I like to speak with when I get a chance. He's trying to take over the Moyer Academy, which it's his school now. It's his building. So I'd really like to kind of have a little conversation about him, with him, about what the projections, what it looks like, what does the school look like. But having said that, I'm thinking about Peter Spencer back then and us right now. How is it that Delaware can almost spend in the top 4 education, and the results we get nationwide, we're at the bottom 4, last 4. So that doesn't speak highly. And I know we have about 18, 19 school districts, and I just can't get my head around that part. However, you know, I was taught you get a child safe, you get them educated, and you get them an opportunity. You won't have to worry about that child going to jail. You won't have to worry about this child becoming a public nuisance. I mean, because folks grow up with faith and hope and believing that they can. So when you talk about the education piece, you're talking about your piece, and you all came together to, one, honor Peter Spencer's contributions and to say, let us now work with, House Bill Resolution 10?
House Joint Resolution 10.
Where Governor Jack Markell and several of our state legislators, I think State Rep J.J. Johnson and State Rep Bolden, were part of having the state to apologize for its role in was transatlantic slavery.
Well, it wasn't just an apology. It was a legislative intent that when Jack Markell, our first, I guess, Jewish governor, signed that into law in 2015, what he did, there's a legislative intent that said that reparations would have to be paid. And that's the discussion that we're having right now. We're looking at how do we retrieve reparations from House Joint Resolution 10.
Well, you don't want to talk about money because you remember when we went up there talking about money, it's not always money. We do want to talk about money, but we don't want people just to think we come into them begging for money.
Well, no, we're not begging.
Right.
But see, you got to have an enforceable agreement.
Okay.
And so what we're doing is that we're enforcing House Joint Resolution 10, which requires money. And that's what I was saying about the Platinum Plan. The Platinum Plan calls for upwards of $1 trillion in equity investment. That's money. And the establishment of 500...
That's money coming from President Trump.
No, it's not.
I mean, but what is it?
It's not money coming from President Trump.
No, I thought his administration. I thought that was one of his.
No, that's just his plan.
That's his plan.
What we're doing is implementing. We sit in the corporate capital of the world, the state of Delaware.
Right.
We have more Fortune 500 corporations in Delaware than any other state in the nation. And these corporations have an obligation because most of them, of the Fortune 500, were established under slave agreements, like Barclays Bank and things of that nature. They were established under, and so there in the state of Delaware, there is what you call a volunteer disclosure agreement. And under this volunteer disclosure agreement, we have to say to the General Assembly that you have to say to the corporate to the corporation's domain here, we want to know how many of you, in fact, made your money off the slave trade. And of those,
and many of them.
Of those
If
that
they
did, then we have to tax them. And that's where you're talking about these tariff wars. We got to put tariffs on these Fortune 500 corporations.
Well, let me ask you this. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree
So it's about money.
But when we start to talk like that, and we want accountability, and we want to be compensated in some way, if they can't give us the money, then give us assistance with the education system, or make it better for us to get access to systems. And it's all kind of ways we can seek some reciprocity and that sort of thing. But I'm thinking, wouldn't that scare the daylights out of folks who are comfortable and who have white privilege?
Well, that's not my concern. My concern is that we are a blue state,
right,
and which primarily is Democrats, and the people in Washington that's in control of the economics are a red state,
right.
So we have to establish a bridge. So those that are concerned about funding are not in line with those of us that's talking about financing. And so we have to change the narrative and change the language and to change the approach. And then you'll find that the money will flow, because what people are afraid of is people that have a mindset of always looking for a handout rather than investment opportunity.
Absolutely, absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely, absolutely. So you hailing from the what we call West Center City, and you are a product of model cities. All right, in the sense that you went to Dell State, which mad shout out to the president Tony Allen.
Well, I graduated from Dell State. I didn't just go.
You ain't got to do me like
Okay,
that.
okay. I just wanted to be clear on
Yes,
that.
sir.
Yeah.
I mean, God, no. Look, I don't want to do you wrong.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm trying to say congratulations.
Okay.
I'm trying to say, they think we don't graduate, but I hated that it came about the way it had to come about. I know as a result of the riots, and West Center City was a model city around this nation. Very few people know that.
Mm-hmm.
But I forget the guy's name. Used to head up Child Inc.
Mm-hmm.
He called me in and he said, Ty, we did this piece, public safety, boom, boom, boom. And what gets me is the system has a way of cleaning out folks. For example, all right, Fred, the refuge center will have a cadre of folks in here. These folks know where the bodies are buried. They can get it done. They can move it. They also have ingenious ideas. If we're to listen, all right? It's there. God gives it to everybody. Now, what happens is so many times the city government, state government, and national is that they don't want those ideas. They're real comfortable doing what they're not doing. Does that make sense? So, and they'll go so far as to get rid of those folks who had history and who can say, no, if you start from this point, this is where we got to. Let's not go back to A. We can start at D because we did A, B, C. If you just read the history, if you just talk with some of the folks, you can start at D and go forward. I think so many times we miss out and mess up because we forget that the riots were going on and how the riots came about, that people were living in an oppressive, suppressive state. And, Dick Gregory would say, you put that pot on the fire and you boil that water. If you keep that heat up and the heat goes up, pretty soon that water is going to bubble over because of the pressure. And I think that's what happened in 68. However, and what would say that is somehow folks thought that we needed the National Guard in there longer than anybody else in the history of the country. But out of that, model cities were formed. And this guy, the guy, I forget his name, Child Inc. director, showed me the paperwork that they used in Washington, D.C. that reflected the work that was being done in the Hicks-Anderson area, that whole West Center City area. And I said, are you kidding me? Other states used our model and we know nothing about it, and we didn't go back and revisit it. And out of that came to my motivational Model Cities Motivational Center, where you did fantastic work. Am I right?
Well, you're correct.
And so, in today's world, what does a Model City Motivational Center look like?
In today's world, and if you want to discuss model cities, you're looking at a model that has existed for over 50 years. And out of that came the Wicked Pack organization, where we still have the same institutions that have existed for over 50 years. Now, I don't know if you recall, it was Governor Pete DuPont. In 1981, he established what is called the Financial Center Development Act.
No.
On his right was Chase, and on his left was J.P. Morgan. Today, you know them as J.P. Morgan Chase. And what he did when he signed this into law, it removed the usury ceiling on what credit card companies and other financial institutions could charge for credit cards. This is where your enormous credit card interest rates come from. And so when this was established, the money, the payback money from these two organizations coming through bringing in the federal government, we use our money in West Tennessee to go into the real estate business. So we purchase real estate that still exists to today. If you go over at the William Hicks Anderson Community Center, and when you come out of the community center, you see the rental houses that we own.
It's like cross the street.
Just across the street.
Right.
And then to the rear, we got single family homes that we still own. So all we're looking for.
So we back to income, education, housing.
We're looking for investment
housing.
Investment opportunities.
Yes, sir.
People that want to invest in real estate, we got real estate for them to invest in.
Wow. That's a heavy plug there. I didn't know all that. And I'm just so excited about the fact that it still exists today, and the property still exists.
It does.
Because we don't think like that. I'm learning. Look at you search the web, the internet. You hear about different ways to build generational wealth, and I was never taught that as a young person. So now I'm learning. You want to get insurance policies. You want to be able to look at property. You want to put a property in a will. I mean, not in a trust. You don't want to necessarily will it to your folks and they get hit, because we get hit so hard. Is it me or is this state just overran with cancer?
Are you asking me that question?
Yeah.
Well, let me say this concerning cancer.
Right.
Because we're talking.
I'm a cancer survivor.
Yeah, we're talking.
And I know several folks. Now, I'm seeing all kind of folks coming down with cancer.
Well, we're talking about health disparities.
Right.
And these are the things that we have to address when you hear people from the blue state saying that our health insurance is being taken away from us, which is not true. When you're looking at a restructuring of Medicaid, Medicare, and other types of health insurances.
So I don't know, Dwight. When you say this is not true, I know a young lady who was one of our women, mom on the block, and she's up the street, Deidre, works at an assisted living facility with seniors, and their Medicaid is running out. And she said that they are putting folks out.
Well, I can't dispute that. I don't know that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying
that when you say that it's not true that folks are losing their health benefits.
No, well, I'm saying because their health facility is running out doesn't mean that they're losing out on the health coverage. It might be just a matter of mismanagement. It might be as a matter of waste, fraud, and abuse. So we can't just look at the fact that these dollars are drying up is the reason that these institutions are closing down. We have to look at the waste, fraud, and abuse associated with them. And that's our job. My job.
Of course, accountability, I think, should be all of us.
We need to have a bridge, to Washington, D.C., so that we can dispel any myths. And then, on the other hand, help our people who is impacted by this.
So what do we do with the folks who just don't trust the process? They don't trust Trump. They don't trust the administration. They don't trust anything he says.
Well, they have to, hopefully, inshallah, that we can position ourselves that they will trust us.
Yes, sir. If you heard, call Kurt, 707, did I say 707? I think it's 707 Falk Road. Called Dr. Kurt Ross, and my friend Fred said, see, Kurt, when you hurt, before you hit the dirt. I told him I was going to use that. I like that. I love that. You heard, called Dr. Kurt. Brother Dwight, I am so excited to have you.
Thank you.
Talking with you, man. Congratulations on your post.
Yeah.
You do a regular post in Facebook and on Facebook, so folks can follow you like that.
That's correct.
And the ANDA post, and it's Dwight L. Davis.
That's correct.
Yeah. Please say hello to everybody over at the mosque for me.
Will do.
All of the brothers do a fantastic work. There's a lot of good folks. Brother Muhammad Salam, who has been working for years in that space of public safety. I think now he works with a lot of young people. So if you ever have a young person that's in trouble or bullying situation, those type of things, you want to connect with Brother Muhammad Salan or either Brother John Muhammad. These folks are out there and they're doing a lot of work. There's some other folks doing a lot of great things. You know, I was just recently with the Fred Reed Project, the I'm Different, You're Different. And listen, man, you talk about energy. And I think we forget how powerful young folks are when we just allow them a space to be safe in and a space to be creative in. And just because I always, churches take a corner, which is what I had. My motto was always, if the spirit is not right, then the mind is not going to be right. And if the spirit and the mind is not right, the body's going to be out of kilter. Does that make sense? So our approach is not necessarily religious. And that's one thing why I like working with so many folks. It's not a religious approach. It's a spiritual approach, because some folks may not even care about religion, but they care about your heart. Do you love me, or do you care about me enough to even consider me? And that's what the whole CTAC movement was about, going out on the corners and that sort of thing. What's pressing you today? If you could change some things, what would you change, and how would you go about it?
You asking me?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to get that piece that you sent to everybody and that I didn't get on my platform. That's pressing.
That's pressing?
That's pressing. Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're also working to create the Black Constructions Contractors Association, which focuses on construction. I spoke with a friend of yours, Holly, demo man, and he definitely gonna have somebody. We're doing a mixer, and that's gonna be a blessing. But folks are interested, if they can build, want to learn how to build, residential, commercial. We want to bid on large projects, and we want to come together. I know folks, I've been a victim of that. Folks will always, when they're jealous or envious, they will always seek to distract you first, or distract the people around you, so that you are not fully in tune with what God is saying to you, your heart, and your people. Once they distract you, then they disassociate themselves, and then they come to destroy you. So we have to be, we don't even have to worry about it, because God said he would fight our battles. And if you believe that, if your faith continues to take you there, because what we have is already stored in heaven for us. We just have to walk it.
That's right.
And I believe that, brother. So when you talk about income, we're talking about, let us come together as those who can build something. I don't know how is it that we could build pyramids, and we can go prior to pyramids and build irrigation systems, and we got about 20 buildings going up around Wilmington and around Delaware, and we don't even get to participate in building nothing. We can't do drywalls, according to these folks. Can't do roofs. We can't sweep. What's wrong, man? Something is wrong with that picture. So we said, let's not talk about it. Let's be about it.
That's right.
Let us come together first and make sure that everybody's lettered. Meaning, if you need accreditations to work on the building, let's get that accreditation. If you need insurance, let's get that insurance. If you need bonding, let's get the bonding. Whatever it takes, let's go there. Now, these folks are very tricky. You can get all that stuff together, and they still never intend to give you anything. And we have to have honest conversations with these folks, and we have to prepare brothers and sisters for that, not to be let down or not to be discouraged, but to understand that you might lose this battle, but you're not going to lose this war. Does that make sense? So they need to, if they're interested in the Delaware Black Contractors Association, call me, 302-420-7889. Delaware Black Contractors Association at 302-420-7889. Now, anything else you want to get clear? You remember a while back we used to do go to the schools and before the children would get on the bus, we would secure the corners. And that was crazy. Red Clay School District Superintendent Merv Griffin came to me, and he was saying how the children were just off the chain in certain bus stops. So we would go around and just kind of stare, and I was surprised at the bullying, man. The bullying that went on, and when these young folks are unsupervised, and I think it's a breakdown in the family. I think it's a breakdown in a lot of different areas. We talk all day about that, but it's important that we show up. And I want to thank you for being a part of that. You know what I mean? We identified 3-4 sex offenders, got them out the way. Had one young person setting at somebody's house on fire one morning. I said, it's too early for this, man. And Joe ran out the house, was going to hurt that young boy. He said, what are you doing, Miles? But I thank God that we were there. That, along with a lot of other stuff. What kind of stuff does the Moss have coming up?
Well,
Or the center? Because you all do a lot of work through the CDC, right?
No, I do a lot of work through ANDA. And one of the things that I think that is important that people should know, I want to take my hat off and give credit to Sinead Darby, Wilmington City Council, because she put in legislation that was going to dismantle the Wilmington Municipal Land Bank. And although I'm in support of that, but not until they've already returned the hundreds of parcels of land that belong to Black and brown people in the city of Wilmington. Once we get those parcels of land returned to the rightful owners of that land, then we can dismantle. And I want to suggest to her, if given the opportunity, that she reach out to Brian Townsend, the state senator, who is the one that passed the enabling legislation to create, that helped us to create the land bank. So this land bank has been taking away our real estate, and real estate is a legacy. You know, you can't bequeath income from your job, but you definitely can bequeath real estate. And so I want to commend her for her work in that area.
My.
Yeah.
Thank you. She does do a lot of work, a lot of great work, and I want to thank her also. Then I want to thank the other council folks who believe in their hearts and their heads that they're doing the right thing. We can all do more. We can all do better. It was Council Member Kobe
Owens,
who worked with you to ensure that the what was it, the reparations
Task Force.
And you all do have a document, don't you?
Well, in fact the city and Trippy Congo and those on city council need to be commended,
right?
Because the Wilmington City Council Reparation Task Force is probably the best model for reparations of any other city, municipality
So there
in
is
the country.
a document,
There is a document.
and folks can get that document.
They can get that document.
And it talks. It's not just money. It's
That's right.
okay, and I think that's important.
Yes.
So we're gonna continue to work with re-entry with folks coming out. At one point, we talked to probation and parole, and we wanted to know who was being released in every zip code. And I don't know who's doing that work now, but we need to be about that. Young folks, older folks, we need to be about checking out our civic associations. Those are the organizations that run, block to block. We need to be involved. If you're just lip slapping, go ahead on with that, man. Just go ahead on. Go to the Diddy party or something. Just get lost. But these folks, are making rules and regulations that's covering you. And if you believe in justice and you believe in your children inheriting something, and you don't have to leave them money, you can leave them legacy.
That's right.
Leave them legacy. These boards, you got to get on these boards. When I was on the Council on Corrections, I was able to reach in and stop brothers from being gang raped. I was able to move brothers from this prison to that prison if one snitched on another. I could go in, walk through, and see for myself. You got to get on these boards because a lot of times the board represents the people and is appointed, by the folks are appointed by the governor, that sort of thing. So you read what covers and what gives you that authority to act. And you can act, you can speak truth to powers. You can redirect sometimes how systems are going just by you being present. Just by you being present. Get involved with the boards if you can. Find out from your state rep. Find out from your state senator, hey, man, why am I not on a board? Put me on a board. Here's what I like, real estate. Here's what I like, children. They got all kind of boards and things that really make a difference, but we're not present. Get involved with your children's education, and it's not always formal like going to school. Education is, if you're an uncle, if you're an OG, if you're a dad, just talk to the children. Don't have to be your particular birth child. Just talk to the child. As a matter of fact, I got to see somebody when I leave here. The young lady that I met making the I'm different. Her mom said, she remembers you. You better go see her. She remembers you. She said, this my friend. Every time she sees me on that video, that's my boy, that's my friend. I owe her to touch her. I owe her. Let me say this, man. My sister died. My niece said something to me. I was asking her to check out my family reunion. That's another thing. We got to get closer with family. And we got to do more family stuff when we can. When we can. The world's pulling us apart, but we got to work harder to pull us together. So she said to me, she was working on the family reunion for my dad, who's 92. This is going to be his last family reunion. And I wanted to get him there if I could. He can't fly, so that means I'm going to have to drive to Florida. Anyway, she secured the ticket. I said, yeah, I have to do that. I'm all right doing. She said, no, I remember when I was young and my mom didn't have no money. She said, I ain't had no sneakers. And I would go to school. They would bully me about no sneaks. She said, when you found out, you promised me you're going to get them, and you got me some Nikes. I didn't even care, Nikes or not. I just knew she needed sneaks.
Right.
Those things make a huge difference.
Right.
Would you agree, bro?
Absolutely. I also want to give some recognition to Sheikh Ali. Sheikh Ali, who did 46 years in the prison system.
46
and he's
years.
Been out going on 3 years, 2.5 years. He is the one that established the village of the elders. And we are also operating under the village of the elders. And so he is the one responsible, in part, of the passing of this Senate Bill 10, the Compassionate Release Bill, where you have people that have been incarcerated for 55, 60 years and never killed nobody, but they've
Never committed murder.
Never committed murder, and they've been incarcerated, and they sick. Some of them is down there, they blind, they got cancer, and so they just passed a bill down in Dover this session called Compassionate Release, and Sheikh Ali.
Big ups. Big ups.
Yeah,
Big up.
yeah.
Sheikh.
Yeah.
Big up to Sheikh.
That's right.
Yeah, and
Give him
continue to work. Man, it's so good to see you. I love you.
Thank you, sir.
The Muslims, the greeting, salam alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Yes, sir. Peace be
Thank
upon
you, brother.
To everybody out there, don't forget we coming back once a week with this podcast. This is my first, and I enjoyed it, and I enjoy speaking with my friend.
Thank you.
Private Attorney General.
That's right. EHM.
I wanted to say Dr.
That's
Dwight
right.
L. Davis.
No, it's EHM.
EHL.
M. Economic Hitman.
Yes, sir. Economic hit.
That's right.
God bless you all.
God bless you.
May you live. Well, how did the boy go? Fred liked it. What? Fred read. May each of you live for as long as you want to, never want for as long as you live. May you live to be 103. May 103 minus one day.
That's right.
And I never know the lovely people such as you have passed away.
Amen. Amen.